Loud, offensive, and often inappropriate. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is expected to announce she's entering the race to challenge Republican Senator John Cornyn in the great state of Texas. She's known for some vicious attacks on Republicans, especially the president.
The mofo that resides in the White House has unilaterally, in my estimation, declared war.
I hate the fact that Donald Trump became president. The orange orangutan, the Timu Hitler.
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot mess.
It's Ted Cruz. I mean, this dude has to be knocked over the head, hard, right?
Different voice for different audiences there, in case you missed it. At this point, if she were to run for U.S. Senate, Crockett would face Texas State Representative James Tallarico in the Democrat primary. And that is because, the reason that there's only two of them at this point, former Congressman Colin Allred suddenly dropped out of the Senate race not too long ago, just this morning. Instead, he will try to run to the House in the newly redrawn 33rd Texas District. Congressional correspondent Bill Melugin is on Capitol Hill. Bill.
Harris, good morning to you. When Colin Allred dropped out of the race this morning, he said he was doing so in part because he felt it was going to be a, quote, bruising Democratic primary for John Cornyn's Texas Senate seat. Well, now it's Jasmine Crockett who has her eyes on that seat. Take a listen.
I am closer to yes than I am no. I will tell you that. The data says that I can win. Here's the deal, though. Data is only one part of the equation. You have to be able to execute. And the state is 30 million people. It's a $100 million race.
And Texas Governor Greg Abbott is throwing some serious cold water on Crockett's expected announcement today, blasting her in an X post which says in part, quote, Jasmine Crockett is about to learn the hard way that most Texans are very different from her district, her base, and her values. She'll be pummeled for her progressive socialist agenda and get crushed by the Republican nominee for Senate. Looking forward to watching the circus and keeping the U.S. Senate seat red. And with Colin Allred dropping out of the race for that seat, Jasmine Crockett's only opponent in the Democratic primary, as of right now, would be Democratic Texas State Representative James Tallarico. Crockett's potential decision to run for Senate would possibly clear the way for another incumbent Democrat to run for her blue seat. This, of course, after the Texas Supreme Court ruled last week that Texas can implement its newly redrawn congressional districts. And Speaker Mike Johnson likes where Republicans are at heading into next year's midterms.
There are 13 House Democrats sitting in districts that Trump won. There's another 21 of them sitting in districts he came within 5 points of winning. Conversely, there's only 3 House Republicans seated today in a Kamala Harris district. So what that means is we have a lopsided map. It's a very favorable map for us, the best we had in about 30 years, which means we play offense.
And Harris, Jasmine Crockett's special announcement is scheduled for 5:30 p.m. Eastern time tonight. That's about 90 minutes before the filing deadline if she wants to run for that Senate seat. We'll, of course, be keeping an eye on things up here. We'll send it back to you.
Yeah, we'll have to see if she can make that announcement without dropping too many expletives. I don't know what the magic number is on that. I think the up or down is in our favor for having to suffer through it. Good to see you. Thank you.
Thanks, Harris.
Power Panel in Focus, David Avella, GOPAC Chairman, and Patrick Murphy, former Pennsylvania Democrat Congressman. Salutes because he served. Great to see you both. David, I'm going to start with you and Democrats in the state of Texas, and let's drill down on that district with Jasmine Crockett. How do you think Republicans will fare against her? You have some strong candidates that would go up against her.
We're going to win that district, and there's no one more excited today than Greg Gutfeld and his team of writers as they think about what's going to give them much material over the next couple of months. I mean, let's keep in mind, Jasmine Crockett is the one who said that law enforcement is about solving crimes, not preventing crimes. This is the Congresswoman who said that Lee Zeldin took money from Jeffrey Epstein, and lo and behold, it was a doctor in Florida, not the notorious Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, this is jokes that just write themselves. And as we think about Texas, and today is the Texas filing deadline, so it's a big day to see what the lineups are going to look like. But you think about that we are counting on Texas to deliver Texas-sized results, and if their ticket's going to be led by Jasmine Crockett, I think we'll deliver.
Yeah, you're right about that deadline. If it's the way that I understand it is, it's just shy today of that deadline at the hour that she would announce. Patrick, she is not the kind of candidate, at least to this point, who has done a lot in her district. Can you point to something that Jasmine Crockett has done that would make people say, oh my gosh, let's elect this person who is awful at times to people in what she says. Let's elect her to the Senate.
Yeah, listen, I think we have two great candidates here. I don't know her exact background. I mean, I met her, I know her, but you have to admit, though, she is a fighter. She's out there in the national media, much like Gavin Newsom.
So she's an influencer. You want me to be impressed politically by that?
No, in the congressional hearings, I think she's pretty tough. Listen, I'm talking about her record as a member of Congress.
Okay, what's that?
Well, I think she's holding this administration accountable on a lot of different things. I mean, she's been pretty adamant about sticking to what the Constitution says and what it doesn't say. I've seen some of her congressional hearings. She is a smart lawyer that was a public defender in that district before she got into office. And then as she's been there, you can't deny the fact that she's not a backbencher. She has been at the forefront on a message to hold this administration accountable. I would say, though, Harris, real quick, she does have a primary opponent. James Tallarico, as you know, is a man of faith. And I would say, someone who was at church for the second week of Advent yesterday, I mean, you look at, that's a blessing to the Democratic Party. We have a great bunch of folks, a wide, basically, base, just like the Republicans do. I mean, we don't know who their nominees going to be. I like Wesley Hunt, who's in third right now.
You don't know what John Cornyn's done. You don't know what the AG of Texas. I mean, these people have records. She should have a record, too. What you gave me was her public influencer profile, how much talking she does, and does it sometimes in the House. And Tallarico, we don't know as well, and that's fair. But as much talking as she's done, I thought maybe you would have pointed to something. David?
Well, we know that she was against extending the tax cuts, and which would have made everyone's tax increases go up. We know she's been for an open border. Look at her record. And if Texans think that is the direction, or if pundits think that's the direction Texas is going to go, they badly misjudge Texas.
Well, to David's point, I think she had agita that's fact that was going to add $3.4 trillion to our national debt that our kids are going to have to pay for, which I think is immoral. But I hear you, and we can have difference of opinion on that. But I think there's no doubt that people would say that she's been a fighter for the folks in her district, the 700,000 that she represents. But she definitely has a strong following, and we'll see, because, again, that's a great primary of two great candidates that we have in the Democratic Party there in the great state of Texas.
Are they just great because they're in your party, though? I mean, have you heard some of the things that she said? And that's also fair to ask. She compared the current president to the Timu Hitler. That's like a knockoff of a serial-killing madman that tipped us into World War. Like, I'm not quite so sure how that's helpful to you in a far-left environment as a Democrat on the Hill, formally. That doesn't get you forward. You can't win in every district, especially a red state like Texas. David.
You said it well. I mean, Jasmine Crockett would struggle in a competitive state like Pennsylvania, where Patrick used to represent, let alone a state like Texas, where the growth in Texas has been by more Republicans moving in. You see Hispanic and minority voters increasing their share of the Republican vote. It's hard to see Jasmine Crockett or State Representative Tallarico, either one of them being competitive in the election next year. But hey, for Democrats, spend a lot of money there, please.
Harris,
all right, great to see you both. I've got to run. I'll have you both back. Thank you.
Good.
Outnumbered
Thanks.
after the break.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.